All right, this will be the last post before I head off for holidays for a week. And I want to finish off this whole area of parents and the mistakes that we often make with our kids and our teenagers. In particular, we've looked at 10 through 5. We're going to finish with 4, 3, 2, and 1. So number 4 is this. It is not prioritizing youth group or church involvement. Man, I see this a lot. And I'm actually seeing it more and more as of recent. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that because families are so busy and because we have our kids involved in a lot of things, we often choose those other things over church involvement because often those things cost money. And so we will sometimes, in a way, not necessarily sabotage our kids' spiritual development, but we will choose those things that we pay for rather than really expecting our kids to be a part of church programs. And so it can be very interesting because what you'll have is we'll have the parents who really want the Wednesday night or the Friday night event, but they're forgetting that their kids are always busy, that they have sports, that they have tutoring, that they have music lessons, that they have this and that and that. And even though they want those things for their kids, ultimately, their kid couldn't come to it anyway. And so it's that whole idea of not prioritizing youth group involvement. So that's number 4. Number 3 is one that I talk about a lot, and it's so very true. It's this. It is a whole idea of outsourcing your teen's spiritual formation. And that has become something that has become a major issue, I think, across the board in terms of youth ministry. And we see it more and more. Here, let me just set this up for you and I can explain why this has happened. We think that youth ministry maybe has always been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Well, it hasn't been. Adolescence, this whole teenage dynamic, has really only been around for 100 years. And youth ministry really about 50 of those years. And what we've seen now is we have a generation of parents that have had youth ministry experience back in the 70s, 80s, or maybe even in the 90s, and they're expecting to have that same thing for their own kid. Now, back in those days, it was really driven by program, not necessarily huge relationship. And a lot of parents will say, you know what, well, we want to have that kind of youth ministry for our kids because the parents have this ideology. They're kind of seeing things through these kind of rose-colored glasses, that it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. When I call parents on that, it's amazing how that when they look back to their youth ministry experience, it wasn't the program that made a difference in their lives. It was actually the relationships within those programs. And so in terms of outsourcing, a lot of times what parents will do is they think that the program is somehow going to change their kids' behavior. We have kids for 2 to 3 hours a week. We can't do a whole lot within those hours. So as youth pastors, we have to decide how we're going to use our energy, our time, and our resources to make the biggest impact we can on kids' lives. I'll tell you right now, if parents are simply using the youth ministry and its programs to somehow spiritually form their kids' lives, it is not going to happen. Parents, I encourage you, and he put it here as well, is to read Deuteronomy 6. The overview of what God expects from parents as it relates to the spiritual formation of our kids. It doesn't say, hand them off to the youth pastor. No. The scriptures encourage us as parents to be the primary spiritual influence. So that's number 3. Number 2, as we move along, is not expressing genuine love and like for your teen. More and more I'm hearing of parents who just simply, pretty much nag or yell or complain when they're talking to their kids. We have to realize how incredibly powerful words are. And are we going to, as parents, we have to ask ourselves, are we pouring words of love and of life into our children, or are we tearing them down by what we say? And I think it's not just what we say too, it's what we plan in terms of spending time with them. prioritizing our time to spend time with them. What are you doing to spend time with your kids? We talked a bit about, I think it was number 8 or 9, spending time, but this has a lot to do with it as well. You express genuine love and deep concern for your kids by what you say and what we do. So let's just keep that in mind as parents. Yeah, how are we talking to our kids? And then finally, number 1 is this: expecting your teen to have a devotion to God that you are not cultivating within yourself. This is a huge, huge thing to think about. The question I have for you is this as a parent: what do you want, spiritually speaking, for your child? A year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, as they move from adolescence to young adults. What do you want that to look like when they graduate college and find their life mate and get married and have kids? What do you want the spiritual formation in their lives? What do you want that to look like? And here is a challenge for us as parents. It's right here. If you want it to look a certain way and you can define what that looks like, you have to ask yourself as a parent right now, does your life look like that right now? Because see, what our teens and what our kids will do, they look to us first. So if they see that we have a genuine and an authentic faith, that it's not just a 2-hour experience on a Sunday morning, that we're truly living it out, that we're being the hands and feet of Jesus, that we're looking for opportunities to share the hope that we have with Him, that we are meeting the needs of people around us. Kids see that, they will emulate that. They will want to become that. They will see the realness of Christ within us. But if we just simply go through the motions from Monday to Saturday, do the church gig on Sunday, and then, pray at meals and that kind of a thing, but then most of the time just have a, kind of me attitude, I'm telling you right now, it is not going to work. If you expect your child to be a super Christian, to have this incredible devotion for God, you have to be the one to model it. I know I have to with my boys. If I want my boys to grow up to be a man who is faithful to his wife, if I want my boys to love their kids, if I want my boys to be a servant of all, guess who's got to do it? Is it going to be their life group leader? It'd be great if he did, yeah. Is it going to be their pastors at their church? Man, I certainly hope so. Is it going to be their friends? Man, I really hope so. Is it going to be their youth pastor? I hope he helps. But most importantly, I know as a father, it is my responsibility to help passing down those things, passing that legacy down onto my boys. I can't expect devotion from to God if I'm not living it in my own life. So there you go. Those are the top 10. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Man, I'm really looking forward to a weekend vacation. It's going to be awesome, just hanging out with the family, doing some day trips, and just having a real connection time with my wife and my boys. Looking forward to it. Wish you all the best. Blessings on you all, and we'll see you in about a week. All right, talk to you later. Bye.